Martin Shkreli just joined the fucking.
I saw that too. What's up, Martin? Fucking love you.
What's up, guys? Everybody having a great day?
Jesus Christ.
What's it, Martin?
Oh, nothing.
I would like to say that every time the Martin Shkreli has come into an Alpha Coast space, there's been a new Donald Trump or Donald Trump-esque coin coming out. So what is it? Just come out with it, Martin. Please.
That is a discussion for another day. For now, we're here to talk about the imminent demise of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, including Farcoin.
Where's people? I've heard enough.
See, I don't know if you guys know this, but these tokens aren't really backed by anything. They're all fake money. And I just figured this out the other day. I just sold everything and I shorted. I was like, how could I possibly be long this stuff? I don't know. Did that occur to anybody else?
I have a question on that, Martin.
Yes.
So, following Nixon taking us off the gold standard, by us, I mean the U.S., taking us off the gold standard in 71, right? The U.S. dollar is no longer backed by gold, right? It's backed really by the U.S. military. So I look at crypto and I see it as backed by kilowatt hours, and ultimately just blind confidence.
But you can't redeem those kilowatt hours, right?
No, I mean, there's not a system currently set up to do that.
There might be in the future.
That's an idea that I've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the argument that Bretton Woods is over, therefore this is just as stupid as fiat, is probably not a good argument because, two wrongs don't necessarily make a right. I mean, if somebody started chopping off their right arm,
That's not what I meant, by the way.
if somebody started chopping the right arm with the hatchet and I started doing it with the scissor, I'm not any less stupid or more stupid than the next guy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just stupidity either way. You do want money backed with something real, ideally, but there's issues with that as well. But there's a lot of other things in crypto that are trying to back money with real assets, and those actually may be better than Bitcoin. But anyway, I just think it's been very frothy, and Bitcoin can drop to like say 95 or 90 or even 75 or something like that, and then maybe it's along then. But right now, between Farcoin, between quantum computing, between even something like DJT, Truth Social's valuation, all this stuff just shows that like the market's gone crazy. There's a company called Quantum Corp. Okay, the stock was at 3. It's at 62 right now. And it's just because their name is Quantum Corp. They actually don't even do quantum computing at all. So,
It's like Long Island blockchain or whatever it is, lemonade.
Yeah, so it's really funny the amount of frothiness. It's almost like people have too much money and maybe the Fed should raise rates. And the SBR thing, I was one of the first people to come up with this idea and pitch it to the administration. And I think now that everybody's talking about it, it's been consensus for months. The only thing that could happen is it could disappoint us. I mean, it's the fact that Saylor's buying tons of Bitcoin. It's not helping the price of Bitcoin. It's not helping his stock price. That's not good either. So I'm pretty bearish for now. And of course, things can change easily and quickly. But I certainly wouldn't be levered long at the top of Bitcoin here.
So question for you, do you hold any spot crypto right now?
I don't hold Bitcoin.
Okay, so probably meme coins. I don't know, bro.
I don't really hold bean coins either, no.
Oh, so you don't have any fucking.
I didn't say that.
What are you
He's
bullish
being
on?
careful with what he's saying right now.
Okay, not what your holdings are, but what are you bullish on?
I don't think there's anything to be bullish on right now. I mean, I think price is the most important thing when it comes to any asset, so at the right price, at the right situation, I'd be bullish on lots of things. But right now, like Bitcoin isn't a good value at $100,000. Like everybody's long and everybody's going to take pain for the next however long it takes before people start getting disgusted with it. Like the euphoria, has gotten to a fever pitch where even politicians are starting to get bullish on Bitcoin. And I think that's it's not going to last. MicroStrategy is even crazier, right? MicroStrategy is like just total crackhead behavior. And, once this correction comes, as it's happening before our eyes, then wash out some of the crap in the space and the crap in the stock market, and then we can be bullish again. And maybe it'll be something like a Monad or some other like latest generation, chain that is superior to Bitcoin. Like, so look at Solana. I mean, Solana was such a monster home run for early investors and early token buyers. Like, we could see that kind of dynamic again, where one day we will get a multi-$100 billion chain, and the best technology should win. And I think that the Sol meme coin explosion is a really good example of, hey, this is a fast chain, it's easy to deploy. There's a lot of drawbacks to Solana, but people like it and it works. And I think that that's a huge thing to be bullish on. So I hope that someday we do get another chain that solves all these problems. And I don't know what it's going to look like or what it is. Maybe it's Aptos or Sui or a Sui, I don't know, or whatever the next generation stuff that's, I'm sure, Paradigm and A16Z are working on, or some other random person that's not going to get any VC funding is working on. But that's, I think, going to be like something real, something really tangible. Stuff like Farcoin is, it's just an attention zero-sum game that's
in the wind.
Yeah, it'll be here today, gone tomorrow.
But I mean, the market's never wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, bro, this shit's being evaluated at around $1 billion market cap. Like, people are actually willing to pay that price, which is insane to me. And like, a lot of the crypto shit already is like, bro, like, people would much rather bet on these meme coins than shit that's backed by like utility or has some sort of use case in this space. And like, it's worked out over and over again for the most part. Like, I don't know, bro, a lot of the prices in the space are inflated. Like, I can say that, but like, I don't know. I think you're overthinking it, Shkreli. Like, I'm not.
Didn't work out for NFTs.
Martin, I'd say you're right on the money. I'd say, going back to your point, two wrongs don't make a right? So this dislocation of pricing is kind of curious to me. Personally, I think there's going to be a correction Q2 25 in the equity market, partially due to the transfer of wealth from boomers down to Gen X and millennials and last price theory and how sort of that works. I'd also be curious to hear your thoughts on the dislocation of pricing in private markets currently, specifically infrastructure and specifically industrial and manufacturing real estate.
Yeah, so I invited Shkreli about his fucking, I don't know, he's been very public about like his short on Farcoin, which I did want to kind of speak on, because I thought it was overinflated at 400 fucking mil market cap. I thought it was overinflated at fucking 6, 7. I ended up buying at 877 mil market cap, brother. Like, I got caught in the fucking wind, ended up buying, because I was like, bro, this could potentially go to zero, but I know the game I'm fucking playing by getting into this instead of being sold some vaporware fucking dream on the next fucking altcoin or the next utility fucking coin or the next fucking blockchain. Like, bro, you can actually bet on attention in this space, whether it's the meme coins or whatever else, NFTs. Like, you can bet on community and people who are around. And I think, I don't know, that's what makes this space what it is, brother. Like, I do value your opinion. Like, yeah, invited you for that reason. But I don't know, bro. I think you could maybe be wrong, could be fucking right, never fucking know.
Wait,
but
when did you short Farcoin?
There's no real way to short it. Is one of the problems. So I opened my old MEXC account. I go in there ready to go guns blazing, and it says $2,500 max short position, and I'm sitting there like, oh man. I even got a VPN ready. But once it's on something like Binance or whatever, even Binance will limit your short size. So like, this isn't a fair market. It's up because it's degen to degen markups. And at the end of the day, when like it's traded 24 hours, 130 million, there are 100 hedge funds in New York City that if I pitch them, if I can get you 50 million short Fartcoin, they would be so thrilled. They would sign up immediately because they can buy shares, $50 million worth of shares of $1 billion company that actually does something. Like, it's actually valuable. And if it's a $50 billion hedge fund, look, unless Farcoin's going to be worth $50 billion, they'll sit and wait, and eventually it'll go to zero, and they can hedge with, other sort of things. So whatever factor of like Farcoin's insanity, they can mimic by, say, being long a Palantir or being long like some other like insanity. They can hedge out that factor and just get pure Farcoin alpha, which, again, maybe the people behind Fartcoin will like do really well. Somebody should do some diligence on this. I don't know who's behind it or who has a lot of the supply, but it doesn't feel to me like this is just sort of today's MOG or tomorrow's, everyone here has seen these come and go, right? It's got today's attention, but will it persist and, be the, where are all these things going to go? In a recession, I think people will sell their WIF. People will sell their, all of their tokens that are just sort of not exciting. Like I was short WIF for a while. WIF has been down quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, and it's certainly down from its all-time high. So, it's every time something like Fartcoin's exciting, well, something like WIF money goes from something like WIF to Fartcoin, and WIF goes down. So WIF is down, a ton over the last, a month or so. WIF was 350, now it's 230. That's a huge loss, and obviously some of that money went to Fartcoin. And can this sustain itself? Well, in a recession where you need to pay for medical bills, you need to pay for your rent, you might look at your dog with hat and say, you know what, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I need cash to pay my rent. And people will swap. And if Bitcoin drops to 40,000, you might say, you know what, I really want to buy Bitcoin, but I'm stuck with, meme coins that are down 90%. I think today's market, stock market and crypto, both show you that like there are times when assets just go down in price for like months or even years. There were 3 years where 2000, 2001, 2002, and most of 2003, where stock prices just went down every single day. And it was just a bear market every day, and it just made people miserable and they quit. So Bitcoin's been great, crypto's been great, and the good times have to come to an end at some point. And I hate, people can hate me for saying that, but I just, think, at least have that in the back of your mind. Even if you're super bowled up, at least think about it.
Bullish indicators though, Shkreli, like we have a super majority that's coming into office very fucking soon. Like Trump is coming into fucking office. Like, bro, there's all these bullish indicators that I genuinely cannot, at least maybe for a few things you can be bearish on, but like for the most part, it's looking bright for the future of crypto for the most part.
I did hear a rumor that Fartcoin is collecting farts to put on the blockchain, so that could be.
I don't know. I did want to ask you though. It's looking overly bullish. Like why?
Well, that's the consensus. In fact, when the consensus is overly bullish, that's a great time to be bearish because there's nothing good that can happen that surprises anyone to the upside. Everyone's long, because they think Trump's going to do an SBR and Trump's going to be friendly to crypto. Trump doesn't give a fuck about crypto. He gives a fuck about getting elected. Now that he's elected, I don't know how many promises he's going to break. This is his last election. And I don't know how tight this Doge and government...
Do you think he goes for a third term?
No, I don't think he goes for a third term, and I think that...
Still talking about crypto, though. He could stop talking about it after he got elected.
I don't think he's talking too much about it, and I think that once Congress... Yeah, I don't know if the reserve will work or not, but I do think Congress has to actually show that it's willing to do what he says, which, the idea that all these politicians in D.C. are going to hold hands and do stuff is a little bit... I wasn't born yesterday. Every politician that's promised me something over the years has lied about it, and maybe this will be the one time. I think what you can expect from D.C. is that they're not going to go after, like the SEC did, after NFTs. They're not going to call these things securities. They're not going to police it, and that's bullish enough, right? Like that's good enough. I don't think they're going to roll out the red carpet for crypto. And then I also think that paradoxically, crypto was made in the fire of 2008 when we needed like a new form of money. There's quite possible that the entire monetary system was going to collapse. So we came out with Bitcoin, and today, if Doge and the government rights itself, you could argue that that's a less marginal incentive for crypto, that I'm less interested in crypto when there's less inflation, when there's a better government, when there's a better balance sheet on the government in terms of deficit spending and things like that, and there's less regulation. Well, I need crypto when the government inflation is out of control, when the spending's out of control, when there's nobody smart in the office. That's when I need crypto. I need crypto when they're spying on me and they're putting people in jail for no reason. That's when Bitcoin comes in handy. If everything's going to go back to normal, what's the propensity, my marginal propensity for Bitcoin kind of drops, and all other cryptos for that matter. And maybe I just want regular money now if I'm not going to be bullied about it and it's going to be relatively stable and not too inflationary. That's just marginally less interesting to be in Bitcoin. I don't get the pitch nearly as heavy as I do, other than Saylor trying to force it under everyone's hands and kind of looking like a weirdo, if you ask me. It just doesn't, like, listening to him talk about Bitcoin just doesn't sort of add up. And I think that it's almost like this desperation blow off top. And he did exactly this in 2000. History is a funny thing. In the peak of 2000, he was like the hottest .com that crashed to get down to earth. It'd be sad if it happened again. But, he's borrowed money with debt to the point where if Bitcoin drops, he's tempting fate that he gets margin called and liquidated. And everyone here in this room, I'm sure, has been liquidated once or twice on Binance or KuCoin or something like that. And, this guy is, basically daring the market to liquidate him. And every time you do that, you tend to eventually get liquidated. And so I feel like that's a really scary, dumb thing. And markets can go down for 10, 20, 30 years. People thought the stock market would never go down. The stock market would be down for 18 years in a row. It was flat for 18 years in the 80s. Never went up until 18 years of digestion happened. That's enough lifetime for you to quit crypto. A lot of people quit crypto after one bad experience. Tell me you're going to be long Bitcoin for 18 years and just holding it. I'm a true believer. It's easy to be a true believer when Bitcoin goes from 30K to 100K. It'll make anyone a true believer. Will you be a true believer if it goes from 100K to 30K? That's going to be a lot harder.
Where do you think Bitcoin's at the end of the cycle?
Here, real quick, we got a couple of hands I want to go to, and then we'll ask these questions. But I wasn't bullish on fucking BTC. I ended up buying at 24K. But what is good, Oshimori? And then we'll go Rasmer. What is good?
Hey, what's up again, Shkreli? Thanks, Alpha. Dude, I like how we just glossed over the whole DJ2 comment. That was funny. But Martin, I really want to...
Which DJT? I'm short the Truth Social.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest shorts, yeah. That's the DJT that trades on the stock market.
To be honest, man, I've been doing pretty well with the counter trade Martin strategy. I don't know if I'll switch that up.
Were you long cassava?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. You should do that. You should do all my biotech ones. You'll be filthy rich. Don't worry.
No, let's get to my question. We'll talk trading later. Dude, you're saying a lot of different things, a lot of which I agree with. I think that it's always good to be pragmatic, especially in these times where everybody, we live in an echo chamber where everybody's bullish, right? You gotta always think about the other side, right? You're bringing up a lot of good points, but I want to know what is it that you believe for the long term, for the rest of the cycle, for the years to come. What is it that you think is likely to happen? Because we can talk about what ifs all you want, but at the end of the day, man, because like Alpha said, we have a lot of bullish signs. We have a lot of, and like you said, at the end of the day, just the GOP being in power is bullish enough for crypto. That's all we really need.
Yeah, but we ran from 70K to 100K as it happened. So it's not like it happened in a vacuum.
For sure. It's that pretty early. We've had a lot of other bullish things that happened earlier.
It's all baked in the price now. Everybody knows about it. So like the only thing that could happen is if politicians are actually not telling the truth, which would apparently shock everyone, that crypto would sell off if that happened. Well, I'm betting that politicians aren't telling the truth, one. And then I'm betting that, all this bullish sentiment's gone. I can't sit here and tell you that what's going to happen to any asset price 10 years from now. Like, especially if that is such a weird asset like Bitcoin, where it's not based on cash flow, it's just sort of this like money flow and sentiment thing. Like tomorrow, there could be something that blows your mind and my mind 100x the way Satoshi blew people's minds. And we don't even know what it is. And it could come out and then I could say, wow, this kills Bitcoin. That hasn't happened yet. It may never happen, but it could happen literally today. And I'd have to change my mind. So that's why predictions are really hard to make. I'm willing to short $10, $20 million of Bitcoin right now and then cover, when 95K or 90K and then, make some money and move on and just keep reassessing the situation, being flat on my feet and not, over leveraged and pig-headed and, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million no matter what. Like that's kind of, around the Bitcoin 2024 conference, we were sort of planning this with Trump and we were praying that Trump would give a speech and come to the conference in the first place. He did. And then we're also hoping that he'd come out and say, hey, we were hoping Elon would come too, by the way. And we were also hoping that Trump would come out and say, I pledge that upon election, I will force the US government to buy $10 billion of Bitcoin or $100 billion of Bitcoin or whatever it was. He didn't say that. And I was there. I was planning it. I was helping plan this whole thing. And it didn't work out. He didn't say that. Cynthia Lewis said it, but Cynthia Lewis isn't Trump. And, when Trump goes in front of Congress and does it, look, Trump's done a lot of things over the years where he says X and then, 2 years pass and he say, it's not the time. It's not the perfect time. I need to use my political capital on something else. And just don't be surprised when you might hear that. And, what happened to my SBR? The political capital had to be used to fix taxes, and I just don't have the political capital to push forward a Bitcoin SBR. Good luck next cycle. And you're sitting there like, I donated $1 million to this guy for no reason. And if you've been around politics, that's how it goes. They lie to you. You walk out of the room thinking you're the smart guy. The politician walks out of the room knowing that he just fleeced you. So hundreds of millions of dollars get donated to these guys. They don't do anything. So I feel like, we're being played for fools if we think the catalyst is the government's going to buy our bags from us at double this price. Like, that's crazy talk.
Again, I think we had this conversation another time in a different space. I don't think that, or I'm not going to count on, a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I'm open to it happening if I see signs of it, but I'm not counting on any politician keeping their promises. That being said, you seem a little bit jaded, to be honest, which is fair given your whole story.
No, it's not that. It's we've gotten a huge price increase in Bitcoin for a long time, and it's a gigantic asset to the point where even Sailor can't move it. So, it feels toppy to me. All this good news, SBR, Sailor buying billions. We're not breaking out. Everyone kind of thought once we would break through 100, that 125 would be the next stop, right? 150 would be the next stop right away. Bitcoin kind of feels heavy to me as a trader. Like, it's just like,
No, but it just broke over 100 though, so maybe in 3 months we could reassess. I don't know.
Sounds like hope to me.
Yeah,